And we're recording. Okay. So our first thing that we're going to do today is go over some questions, and we're going to continue the.
And trying to the other screen.
Okay, I'm waiting for everybody to finish talking.
The remote control.
Is everybody finished?
We're trying to fix the screen.
Everybody finished talking now?
Oh, you just know what?
Like click I don't know if you and move it.
Alright, so far we've got several questions from different sections. Now, no, I guarantee you there's other people in here that have questions, but you got 5 or 10 people that haven't even done the homework, and you got 2 or 3 people that don't even know what day it is, and then you got 2 or 3 people that know the material. So you're not bad. All right. Other people would be sending me questions if they would do the homework. All right. So we've got questions here, and what I'm gonna do when I do a review section, what I do is I pull up the questions, and then I look at the questions, and then we spend time going around the question. All right, because I'm trying to answer questions and review at the same time. Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
So if I'm teaching this factoring review, I might go into the shortcuts, I might go into complete the square, I might go into different areas to make sure everybody is getting the review. All right, and we're going to do that a lot. We got some people, in 1.1. I looked over the report of the homework. There's 10 of y'all, 10 to 12 of y'all. I'm wondering what y'all waiting on because y'all haven't done anything. All right, so this is not your regular math course. All right, anytime you got a C word in front of your math course, like calculus, you're not going to be able to do what you did in algebra. Okay, especially when we get to the derivatives and the antiderivatives, you're not going to be able to put everything off till the last minute. So the algebra days are over. If you want to get behind those 10 or 12 that are already behind, you're getting a good start in being behind. So that's all I'm going to say about that because I'm not going to get in the soapbox. Let's go ahead and look at the first question. This is the question that's up. So write that question down right quick. This is for your notes. For some of y'all that don't see it, I'll write it.
Yeah.
For some of y'all that sit at the back of the room and can't see.
4x
plus 1 quantity squared plus 14 times 4x plus 1 plus 48. And if you wanted to set it equal to 0, you can set it equal to 0. So go ahead and factor that. Now, if you will look in calculus, there is something called U substitution. Is that a familiar term? It should be, because in algebra, you factor using U substitution. All right? What do I mean? Well, highlight what is U. That's U. Or you can make it V, you can make it W, you can make it whatever you want. But the whole point is, it repeats itself. Okay? So you can put in a variable for that. So I want everybody to put over to the side, U equals 4x plus 1. So go over to the side and write U is equal to 4x plus 1. Therefore, what do we have? U squared plus what? 14u plus 48. And now what do we have? Got a regular reverse FOIL, or you've got a regular completing the square. Now, of course, I'm not going to do I'm going to do completing the square because the more you're exposed to completing the square, the better. So I'm going to use completing the square.
Wait, what was it?
Ah, forget it. You're going to fail. All right, U is equal to, what is it? 4x plus, I'm rewriting it.
Okay.
4x plus what?
1.
4x plus 1. And we got u squared. What?
Plus 14.
I'm sorry, speak up.
Plus
14x
plus 48.
plus 48. I'm going to set it equal to 0, and we're going to complete the square on this thing. U squared plus 14x plus blank is equal to negative 48 plus blank. Half of 14 is what? 7 squared is 49. Oh, look at that. What's the fun? What?
How's that 46?
You're going to fail it. U squared, or U plus 7, quantity squared, is equal to negative 48 plus what? 49 is 1. So our vertex on this is going to be, you could get your vertex, which is not really because you still got to plug in. So we're not going to worry about our vertex here. So U plus 7 is equal to positive or negative 1. Now what do we plug in for U now? So plug in 4x plus 1 plus 7 is equal to positive or negative what? 1. So 4x plus 1, what's 1 plus 7?
8.
4x plus 8 is equal to positive or negative 1. Subtract that 8. We get 4x is equal to, what's 1 minus 8? Negative 7. And what's negative 1 minus 8?
Negative 9.
So our x-intercepts are negative 7/4 and what? Negative 9/4. Y'all check it. Check my work. Equals negative 9/4. Okay, now I want you to do it by reverse FOIL. Do the u squared plus 14u. Oh, that's supposed to be a u right there. Sorry. It's right here. It's supposed to be a u. Sorry. Now I want you to do u squared plus 14u plus 48 and do it reverse FOIL. You should get the same answer unless you're a failure. If you're a failure, you're going to get it wrong. Sense of humor. Everybody has one. Some of it's like Squidward's laugh box. Y'all seen Squidward's laugh box, the one that broke? And none of y'all say you didn't watch SpongeBob when y'all was a kid, because all of you watched SpongeBob when y'all was a kid.
I thought SpongeBob.
What?
Didn't SpongeBob. His laugh broke.
No, Squidward told SpongeBob that his was broke. It wasn't.
Ah.
And then Squidward ended up having a broken one at the end, and SpongeBob had to give him half of his. All right, so everybody got this? So I'm going to erase this now. And we're going to do it using the reverse FOIL. And that way I've done this question, but I've reviewed 2 sections of the factoring section. So break up the first term, starting with u. Break up the last term, starting with 1. 1 times 48, 2 times 24, 3 times 16. Yep, 3, 16, 4, 12, 5, 6, and what? 6 and 8? Well, 6 and 8, 56 or 48? Which one is it? 6 times 8 is 48, isn't it?
Yes, it's 48.
Okay, so 6 and 8. So we need a middle term of 14. So 1 and 48. Now a lot of you are saying, well, Hubert, just use a 6 and a 4, or 6 and 8. Well, you already know how to do it. I'm reviewing for people that have forgotten how to do the reverse FOIL. Remember, that's who I'm teaching toward. All right, so 48 plus 1, 48 minus 1 will give me 49 and 47. So that's not right. We don't need that. 24 and 2 will give me a 26 or 22. We need 14. 16 and 3 will give me a 19 or a 13. Close, but not it. 16 and 8. Nope. And 6 and 8 will give us a 2 or a what? 14. We want 14 for the 6 here and an 8 here. This tells us that the biggest number of the outside or the inside has to be positive. What's bigger, 8u or 6u? 8. So that's positive. This tells us what? Like sign. So if this is positive, this has to be positive. So u plus 6 times u plus 8 is equal to 0. Now, what are we going to plug in for u?
Sorry.
So that would be 4x. Oh, I'm supposed to go into cardiac arrest right now. You're going to fail this class.
I'm sorry. I don't know who that
4x plus 1 plus 6. 4x plus 1 plus 8. Okay, what's 4x plus 1 plus 6? 4x plus 7. Hubert, thank you, one person out of the 30 people. 4x plus 1 plus 8 is 4x plus what?
the 4x plus 1 b.
And that's equal to what? All right, now I want you to solve that last section. Everybody solve that. So that'd be 4x plus 7 is equal to 0, and 4x plus 9 is equal to 0. It's a miracle.
Much easier.
So, did we get the same answer?
Yeah.
Yes, we get the same answer. Now, they may want it in factored form. If they want it in factored form, it would be this right here. So, everybody circle that and highlight
Yeah,
this.
that's what they want.
Yeah. But I did two things here. I went over completing the square, I went over reverse FOIL, and then I went over solving for x. So that's a kind of a three-way review. Okay?
Hubert,
Yes, sir.
are you recording?
Yeah, I should be. Why?
Okay. I'm just asking. Making
Yeah, I
sure.
think
Yes.
Can y'all see? Can y'all see them?
Yes or no? I can't hear.
Easily. Can y'all see? And Pendleton, can y'all see the Anderson campus?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, let me check right quick. Here we go. I'm checking, and yes, I am recording because it says stop recording right there, so I am recording.
Okay,
Okay.
awesome. Thank you.
All right, now, next question,
Wait, why does it matter if you record?
because I put it on YouTube.
Oh.
So therefore, y'all want to ask me, what'd you go over Wednesday? I'll look at you and say, I have no idea.
So I was YouTube?
Huh? No, you're not. The board is really.
Oh.
Now, there may be glimpses of you on YouTube when I walk around the room, but I try to stay up at the front. All right, so next question. That was the first question. Next question is factoring review. This same type question. All right, we'll do this one real quick. We'll do this one, even though it's the same type.
I get it.
We're going to do it real quick. This is not yours. Somebody else.
Okay.
You know, it's not all about you now. It's not all about you.
Okay, I thought it was.
All right. Where is my... All right, now, go to it. I want you to do it however you want to. Do it reverse FOIL or do it after you do the use substitution. I don't care. We're only going to do this one as reinforcement because I've already showed you just the two ways to do it. Probably everybody's going to do reverse FOIL. U squared plus 12u plus 32. And everybody knows it's 4 and what?
8.
4 and 8. Okay, so put a 4 here.
What if someone didn't know you're going
Okay, well then let's do it. 1, 32. 2, 16. 3, nope. 4 and 8. That's it. So 1 and 32 will give you a 33 or a 31. We need a 12. So that's out. 2 and 16 will give us an 18 or a 14. That's out. 4 and 8 will give us a 4 or a what? Ding, 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 12. So we're going to use 4 and 8. This tells us that the biggest number of the outside and inside has to be what? Positive. What's bigger, 8 or 4?
8.
So that's a plus. And this tells us like signs. So if that's positive, that has to be positive. So u plus 4, u plus 8. So u plus 4 and u plus 8. And now stick in your u, which is 4x plus 1. 4x plus 1 plus 4. 4x plus 1 plus 8. And what's 4 plus 1?
5.
And what's 8 plus 1?
9.
That should be your answer. Now again, I remember when we went through and talked about each other's math background, I think there's about 6 or 8 of y'all that probably are starting to remember some of this stuff, okay? And that's good. That's why I gave y'all all of this homework so you can send in questions. All right, so we're going to move on. Everybody got a question here?
9.
Okay.
What's section 8.3? Is it 8.36? Honestly, I don't know.
8.3 is chapter 8. I have no idea.
Okay, but something, I don't know.
These people on their drugs. All right. I don't know what I'm going to do with
I
this
think it's
thing.
at nothing. Oh, it's 1.3.
Yeah, we're on chapter 1. And they want to legalize marijuana. All right, next one. Completing the square review. All right, just write down the question. This one is 11y squared. Y'all might want to use a clean sheet of notebook paper because this one's going to take a good bit.
Yeah, I copied the answer. I didn't get it right.
Y plus 1 is equal to 0. All right, give y'all a few minutes and I'm going to do this. The reason I'm going to do this one, completing the square, and not even think about reverse FOIL is because I don't want to sit there and try to figure out what will give me 11 and what will give me 10. That's just going to be pain. So,
Wait,
11.
that's easy. It's just 11 and 1.
11y squared minus 10y plus blank is equal to -1 plus what? Blank. Now you got to factor out the 11. And that's when most of y'all will quit. Because it's got a fraction, and y'all can't do fractions, right?
So I got a link for it. I'll send you.
Right, Easley? Y'all can't do fractions, right? I'll go to the Pendleton campus. Easley's going to be snobby today. -1 plus 11. Easley, why aren't y'all talking to us?
Yeah, like there.
We're here.
Why aren't y'all talking?
I'm just listening, man.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to focus, you know?
Oh, you're trying to focus. Okay. I'm sorry.
You know what I mean?
All right. Now, remember, whatever you factor out here has to what?
Be in there.
Be multiplied by that blank. Now we get to mess with the fraction. All right, fraction. That's where everybody, y'all stopped at, right? So here we go. I'm going to pull it out, and I'm going to pull it out over here, and over here, and I'm going to say 10 over 11 divided by 2, and what? Square it. Now, that's 2 over what? 1. So what do we do when we divide by a fraction? You multiply by what?
The reciprocal.
The reciprocal. And that's equal to 10 over 22, which is 5 over 11. Somebody help me out. 5 over 11, square that, and we get what? 25 over
11.
121.
I just couldn't.
Yeah, you got to do both. 25 over 121.
That's showing to you.
25.
Back, I always only did the top.
What?
I just did the top.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of students do. Don't worry, you're not the only one. 25 over 121. Okay, now simplify that. You quitting on me? Why are you quitting? And easily, why are you quitting on me? You got to go.
Huh?
Why are you putting your books up?
I'm trying to watch.
You're watching.
I'm better when I watch.
I can't do it. You can't do it.
All right. So this is shortcut number what?
1,
Shortcut number 1. No, shortcut number.
3,
No, it's only going to be number 1 or number what?
2.
Number 1 or number 2? Shortcut number 1 or number 2 based on what?
The sign.
That sign right there. Okay, so now we've got 11 times y minus 5
We talked all those.
over 11 is equal to,
I didn't write that.
well, we gotta condense this, and that's going to be -1 plus, this is 11. All right, y'all watching? Because this is where a lot of people get messed up.
Hold on.
I'm going to change this to 11 over 1. And what happens with that 11 and that 121? Cancels, so I get 25 over 11. And now that changes the 1 into what?
Wait, what cancels?
11 over 11. Okay, now simplify. I thought you said you were going to watch.
I seen it today.
You're not watching?
Who?
Now, I know what's going to happen, y'all, and I'm not picking on easily. But what's going to happen is y'all going to forget this stuff. So I don't want to hear it when you forget, okay? This is the stuff that people forget on the first test.
When's the test? This is the 31st.
When we get through. 11 y minus 5 over 11. Quantity squared. What's -11 plus 25?
Isn't it 14?
14 over 11. Now, that's your vertex. Your vertex is 5/11 and -14/11. So I'm not worried about the vertex, but I want you to move on and solve for x. Or
Wait, hold on.
is it y or x? Which one is it? Oh, it's y.
The
Okay.
Y's always on the outside.
Don't worry about it. It can be x or y. I don't know why they're using y in a. That's why this.
Me neither, but.
You can treat it as x if you want to. So I'm going to take this over to the next. So I'm going to take my handy dandy copy machine and I'm going to copy this. We're going to turn it over into whiteboard and bring it in. Clipboard. There we go. And I want you to solve that. So the first thing you're going to do is divide by what?
11.
Divide by 11. Divide by 11
So
over
wouldn't that
1.
cancel the 11 out?
It'll cancel this 11 out.
Yeah.
And you multiply by 1 over 11. And that will be
I just kidding.
121. So y minus 5/11 quantity squared is equal to 14 over 121.
He teaches more than email than she does in the actual class.
True.
take the square root of both sides. Y minus 5 over 11 is equal to square root of 14 over 11. And now your final answer, y is equal to the square root of 14 plus 5 over 11. So now that can be written as this. Square root of 14 plus 5 over 11 negative square root of 14 plus 5 over 11. It can be written as the square root of 14. Somebody tell me what the square root of 14 is. The square root of 16 is what? 4. So what is the square root of 14? 3.7, 3.8. That's good enough for government work because you're going to be sketching these out anyway. So 3.8 plus 5 over 11 negative 3.8 plus 5 over 11. What's $3.80 plus 5? That's $8.80. $8.80 divided by 11. Well, it's going to be 0.8, isn't it? Because 88 divided by 11 is 8. So 8.8. You divide $8.80 by 11 people. Each one of them is going to get less than $1. So that's going to be 0.8. Now, the reason I'm doing this, I'm showing y'all this for a reason. Because this is going to be...
That is 0.8.
Yeah. Okay, so there's 0.8. Now, if you owe somebody $3.80 and you got $5 in your pocket, you still owe them $1 what? $1.20. And you take $1.20 and you divide $1.20 by each one is going to get about 12 cents. So that's going to be 12 cents.
Or 11 cents.
Okay, 12 or 11. Okay, 11. We'll change it to 11. There we go. So there is your x-intercepts. Now, the reason I took it all the way out here is because on my test and homework, you can do this. And what's that called? I don't think I spelled that right.
Did you? I don't know how to spell it either.
Well, sometimes I write problems on the board. I write words on the board that don't look right. All right, challenge. That's why it's a math class. All right, challenge. Is that right?
I don't know. It doesn't look right. Let's see.
That's it.
I want to say
That is it.
it's supposed to be an A.
I think there's supposed to be an 8, but I'm not sure.
Somebody look it up.
That is right.
It's right. Okay. All right. Now, people looking on their phones. All right, challenge. Let's say, Mr. Miller, you listening? Where's
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Miller?
Right here.
Okay. The reason I remember you sitting where I can see you now. All right, Mr. Miller. Yeah. Let's say he's taking a test and he put the square root of plus or minus the square root of 14 plus 5 over 11, and it marked it wrong. Is he wrong? Is Mr. Miller wrong? No, he's not wrong. Anyone, if anybody listening, any one of these answers, in my opinion, is right. So, let's say you're on a test and you put in 0.8 and 0.11 and you get it wrong. Then you see me, what?
After class.
After class. And we will look at it on the test. So for those of you who have not had me before, anytime you want to challenge a homework question or you want to challenge a test question, then you see me after class, okay? All right, so that takes care of reviewing over completing the square. It takes care of reviewing over how to get X. It reviews over what to do with a challenge question. All right?
Do we get extra points if we do the challenge?
No.
Oh.
Actually, I'll take off points, especially if I don't like you. All right? So if I don't like you, I'll take off more points. All right, next question. What is wrong with the Easley and what is wrong with Easley and Pendleton?
They're
Y'all are
still
being so
asleep.
quiet.
They're still asleep.
Are y'all still asleep?
Yeah, I wasn't going to come to class today, but I decided to.
Okay.
So,
He's the only one.
Where's Mr. Floyd? Mr. Floyd, where are you?
He says she's the only one
Is
talking.
Mr. Floyd in Easley, is he there?
I hope they heard.
Nope.
Maybe that's why y'all so quiet.
Nope.
Okay, next question. Let's see, this is 1.1. 1.1. I have no idea what 1.1 is. Okay, here we go. Okay, this thing is not doing. Okay, this says you decided to purchase a car for $18,750. You had 20% of the purchase price to use as a down payment. So somebody multiply $1875 by 2, and that'll give you 20%, which is $3750. What is it?
It's
37.50.
18,750, not 18.
37.
Oh, never mind then.
No, it's 93,750.
You said 1875, so I did that.
I did it.
18,000.
Okay, I did 1875 times 2. That's 20%. Is it
But no, there's a
3750?
0 at the end of the 5.
Okay, stop.
No, that's 20%. Never mind. All right, yeah, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay, this is 20%. Okay, so you take 20% off of 1875. Somebody take 20%, take the 3750 off of this. That's going to give you what? 16,000. Somebody check my math.
15,000.
15,000. 15,000. Okay, so you're just dealing with these numbers. You're thinking these numbers out. Okay. The accompanying. Okay, it says down payment, and the purchase will be financed at 10%.
Wait, how'd you get 20%?
20%. You
I thought
take.
you just times it by 0.2.
Yeah, take that and multiply by 0.2. Yes.
Oh, I divided.
Okay, that's fine. That'll give you some big number. All right, so that takes care of this. And it says estimate. Now, the key word here is what? Estimate.
I'm done.
Now, you could put this in amortization, which we haven't even went over the amortization, and that's in business math, but you don't. That's one of those things you're not supposed to know off the top of your head. So we're going to use the graph. Now, this is months. And this is monthly payment in dollars. So we got $300 payment, $600 payment, and so on. Yes.
Okay, so this is my problem, and I estimated on the graph, and I put 300 because you can't really tell like specifics, and I got it wrong. They want like exactly 319.
Well, I don't see. I looked at this question before. I looked at this question before class, and I couldn't figure out how they got 319
That's what
out
I
of the graph. The only thing I would say is you would have to blow the graph up and put lines on it to get those questions.
That's not
Or
estimating.
if you get it wrong, they should know you the answer.
Yeah, I would, if I gave you this on a test, which I wouldn't, okay, because one, it's very vague on the, it's not giving you any kind of tolerance here, and two, I would make the graph a little bit bigger and put the lines on it, okay? So I wouldn't give you this question on the test, and that's how they find it. Now, the closest you could do is to do this. Take your straight edge and put a thin line and draw a line from, let's see, if you find it, 60 months. So take the 60 and draw a line right there. And see, I'm a little bit off. And then, of course, take your horizontal line, and I'll do it in blue, and go from here to there. Oops, that wasn't a horizontal line. Hold on, let me do that again.
It's like about
There we go.
450.
Why 319? Why not 320 or something?
Okay, you see that? All right, now, you know that 300 to 600 is 300, so that's about 150. There's no way by that graph to get $319. All right? So if I said anything, I would say 320 or 325. Something like that. Okay, now, estimate, again, it says estimate, the number of dollars or number of months you will have to pay on the loan if you can only afford $1,200 a month. So take out your handy-dandy straight edge, and the straight edge has to be used on this. You can't do it by freehand. You have to use the straight edge, and you have to at least get it somewhere right near it. And it's very hard to do with this. Well, it's a little bit over 12 months. Again, estimation. Now this is one time where your pencil and your straight edge is more accurate than this is, because it's hard for me to get it without lines. It's hard for me to get it right on it. If you decrease the time finance from 60, that's right here, from 60 to 48, how much would your payment increase? Well, you need to take this right here and go up here and go right there. And there is no way to estimate that other than saying 50 or 60 bucks. I have no idea. The reason I picked this problem was pretty much I didn't know it. See, I only get to see the question. I don't get to see all of this. So I was thinking they were just asking you to read a graph. Okay, they are asking you to read a graph, but are they being unreasonable as far as estimation? Yeah.
That's the school one's in yellow.
All right. Anybody got a question on this one? All right. Let's move on.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
That's like calculator 15, and they're still missing.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That kid.
So that kid's probably like something. Okay. At the school.
All right. Next one. What's so funny, y'all? What's funny?
Over here?
Yeah.
This calculator. This calculator.
What's it doing?
It's a school calculator.
Oh.
You know the yellow back?
I've never seen them before.
What?
Oh,
What's wrong? What do they do?
It's like this, but it's ugly.
Just never mind.
You got that 5-finger discount.
You stole it? Okay. That's good. Admit that you still stole it. Next you'll be... No, I ain't going to go in there. All right, next we got... Let's see what this is out of 1.1. I don't know if it's the same question or not. Okay, now this might be a test question.
That was me.
All right, this might be a test question because it's a good review, and this is a function type question. All right. Now you don't even have to read. You don't have to read a lot of the directions because all you need to know is this right here. That's all you need to know. Now, this is where I go out and review a little bit. For those of you that had algebra before, you remember back in pre-algebra, you were given y is equal to 2x plus 3, and you were given x and y, and you were told -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And you were told that if I want to find -2, I take -2 and plug it in. I get -4 plus 3 is -1. -1, -2 plus 3 is 2, or -2 plus 3 is 1. 0 is 3, 1 is 2 plus 3 is 5, and 2 is 4 is 7. Okay? What did you do?
I plugged the 12 and 15 in.
Okay, hold on. I'm not asking you. I didn't ask you about this. What did I do here?
-2 you
I plugged in what? X.
X.
And then in algebra, later on in algebra, I told you to rewrite this as f of x is equal to 2x plus 3. And hold your pinky up when you did it. Because does it mean the same thing? Yes. And I was told this was too redneck. I told you this was too redneck. So you got to hold your pinky up now and do f of -2. F of -1. And you plug in 0 and -1 and -2. And don't do this anymore because you'll embarrass yourself. Okay? You remember me telling you that in 109? Well, what if I told you this? Y is equal to 4. What in pre-algebra were you told to do when you have y is equal to 4? What would you do with this function if you had y is equal to 2x plus 3 and you were given this? What do you do with that y?
You solve for it.
You plug the y in and say 4 is equal to 2x plus 3 and solve for what? X. Well, what is this a fancy way of writing? What is f of x a fancy way of writing? Y. So t of x is a fancy way of writing what?
Y.
So what are you going to do with that 12?
Plug it in.
I'm going to plug it in for t of what? T of x. And instead of this being, we're going to solve. We're going to put 12 is equal to, so we'll take it to the next step. The number one error students makes here is they take the 12 and plug it in for x.
Yeah.
They forget that when you got f of x is equal to 12, that's the same thing as when we used to write y is equal to 4, and you plug it in for y. So 12 is equal to 4x squared minus 8x plus 7. And you're going to bring the 12 over. So that's going to be 0 is equal to 4x squared minus 8x plus 7 minus 12. All right, finish it out. All you finish it out that didn't invent it or didn't already do it. One of the two. And then those of you that haven't done 15, 15 is the same thing. You're going to make y equal to 15. Zero is equal to 4x squared minus 8x plus 7 minus 12.
-5.
And I'm going to do complete the square because I don't fool with that reverse FOIL. Ain't y'all ready to quit yet? Ready to withdraw?
I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go home. Live with my parents the rest of my life.
There you go, living the dream. All right, so 4x, I'm going to go ahead and start you off. 4x squared minus 8x minus 5. 4x squared minus 8x minus 5. 4x squared minus 8x minus 5 is equal to 0. 4x squared minus 8x plus blank is equal to 0 plus what? Blank, or negative, 5. 5 plus 1. Factor out 4. X squared minus 2x plus blank is equal to 5 plus 4 times blank. What's half of 2? Be careful, you might need to use your calculator. What's half of 2? 1 squared? Be surprised. I'll never forget the time that my neighbor called me and said, "You need to come down here and see what's wrong with this calculator. I spent $125 on this calculator and my daughter can't do blah, 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 blah." Just going 90 miles an hour. I come down there and They were doing a pre-algebra. It was a pre-algebra type review. And the question said 1 to the 29th power. And the woman, the mama goes, we've typed this thing in 5 different times. And it keeps giving us 1. How do you tell your neighbor that the calculator is smarter than they are? Or that they need to go brush up in pre-algebra? 1 to the 29th power is 1. All right, so anyway, 4, and that's x minus 1, quantity squared, shortcut number 2, is equal to, what's 5 plus 4?
9.
9. Divide by 4. X minus 1, quantity squared, is equal to 9/4. So your vertex here is positive 1 and negative 9/4. That's your vertex. Take the square root of both sides. X minus 1 is equal to positive or negative 3/2. X is equal to positive or negative 3 plus 1 over 2. What's 3 plus 1? 4 over 2, Hubert. That's right. What's negative 1 plus 1? So your 2x-intercepts are negative 2, or 2 and 0. So if you wanted to sketch this out, kind of review over sketching out a graph, got 2, 1, 2, 0 with a vertex of 3, and negative what? 2.5. Y-intercept of negative 5. Looks something like that. Now what was the question asking? Let's go back and look at what the question was asking. We didn't get that.
Wait, Hubert, if you were adding 1, you added...
Oh, there, I'm sorry. Hold on, stop. There's the answers right there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Now, did I get those answers?
What you just did.
A negative. Yeah, he did the half wrong, yeah.
I don't understand how they got those answers, because they've got 4 different... Oh, wait a minute.
If you go back to
the adding wrong.
Yeah, go back to the whiteboard.
Okay. Let's see what... I didn't know that's what they got. Let's see what...
Yeah. You did, when it was 3/2, then you added the 1. You just added 1 to the numerator instead of adding 2.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait just a second. Negative 3 plus 1 is not 0. Sorry. I just saw that. I think that's what was that what you were bringing up?
Yeah, but it's x minus
When it's x minus 1 equals plus or minus 3/2, and you added the 1, you just added 1 to the numerator, but you needed to add 2.
Yeah, thank you. 2 halves. Thank you. I suck. So that means I live in the ditch too. You know the worst thing is a math teacher making a mistake? You know what's worse than a math teacher making a mistake? A math teacher making a mistake and not admitting they made a mistake.
Did you make a mistake?
X, yeah, I made a mistake. All right, 3 plus 2 is what? 5? So that'd be 5/2. And negative 3 plus 2 is 1/2, right? Be a negative 1/2.
Yeah.
How's that? Is that a little bit better?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's redraw that. And negative, there'll be 1 and negative 2.5. Got a y-intercept of negative 5. Positive 5. No, it's negative 5. Something's wrong.
Could do that, couldn't you?
Something's wrong.
Okay.
Somebody check the vertex. Somebody graph this on a graphing calculator and see if that vertex is correct. I don't think that vertex is correct. Something's wrong somewhere because we've got a negative 5 and a vertex of negative 9/4. That'd have to be open and downward. Somebody check the vertex and see if somebody do that for me. 5/2 is right in here, 2.5. So that's 1, 2, and then -1/2, and 1, and somewhere around here. What's so funny?
You can't do that.
Something like that.
I don't know how to factor this, and you're going to help me.
Factor what?
The next one.
Okay, did anybody check to see if this was factorable by the reverse FOIL method? I don't know if it is or not.
Yeah, I did it that way, and I got it.
Okay, so you can do it both ways.
But not the next one, I don't think. Because
Anybody got a question on this one? Did somebody check the vertex?
Yeah.
What?
One.
Yeah, that's wrong. Something's wrong with that vertex. Somebody needs to check it. Or not the vertex, yeah. I've done something wrong on that vertex. But I got the right answer, but the vertex, I must have looked at something wrong. I was going pretty fast.
Does anybody know if the homework's up?
All right, you weren't looking for the vertex anyway, so you're just looking for the x-intercepts. So let's keep going. I want to cover these questions.
Change it to everything.
All right, next question.
Right first.
are we gonna? Yeah, we're going.
Go.
Next question
So you're not
is.
gonna do the 15?
Like one day.
Okay, that was.
Next Wednesday, so let's do.
Since you're on.
At 1.5. 1.11.
Class. We're doing this all class.
Oh, yeah.
All right, for those that are listening, this is 1.11.
Did you see that?
Okay. All right, I don't know who's doing it, but I don't know if you need medication or something. But when I'm talking in this classroom, you keep your mouth shut. Do you understand me? Pendleton and Easley? I don't know who it was, but it wasn't Anderson. Now, if you need medication or if you need to see somebody, do it. But that's the first shot. Second shot, I'm going to embarrass you, ask you to leave. Now, I've had it for the last 5 or 10 minutes. People have been rude and disrespectful. I don't know who it is. Don't do it anymore. Does everybody understand? I've never had to do that in this Polycom class. Have I easily? I don't think I have. So, all right. Now, I'm going to review a little bit about domain and range. I'm also going to review a little bit about increasing and decreasing values, because I think that's what this question is going to ask for. So I'm just going to go to the whiteboard on this question. So I want you to draw a big graph in your notebook, and we're going to go over a little bit of domain and range and decreasing values. A lot of people go all the way up.
Good God.
Okay, are y'all finished? Where is that coming
What
from?
is that?
Oh, I crushed a piece of paper beside the microphone. That's on me. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, now, all right, let's talk about a function that looks like this. Okay, that is a parabolic function, and we're going to put, let's see, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. Okay? And put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to put, well, for right now, we're going to leave arrows on the end of it. Now, I'm going to put the list of things over here, and there's 4 or 5 things that you're always going to be asked for as far as graphing or calculus or algebra. 1, the domain. 2, the range. 3, decreasing values. 4, increasing values. And then 5, the line of symmetry. Now this is pretty basic review over algebra, so some of you may be bored with it, and that's fine, but I'm not teaching you. I'm teaching the ones that are line of symmetry, that are reviewing over this stuff. So the domain, that's x values. This is x values. This is x values. And even this is x values. So where is the only y value? The range. So that will help you to know if you are doing the right numbers. Okay? I also want to tell people that when we're talking about decreasing values and increasing values, we're talking in terms of horizontal distance, which means along the x-axis. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Now the domain is the x values that you can put into the function. So if I give you a function like f of x is equal to x plus 1, you can put anything in that. You can put negatives, you can put positives, you can put square roots, you can put cube roots, you can put fractions, you can put anything. What if I give you f of x is equal to x squared? I could put anything in that. I could put anything in an x squared function. But if I give you a radical and an even index, or if I give you a fraction, then the domain is going to be affected. So what you need to write down in your notes is these two right here. What do they incorporate? They incorporate a radical or a what? A rational. Think of R's. A rational or a radical, the domain is going to be affected. Other than that, the domain, especially if it has arrows on it, is going to be what? All real numbers. Now you can write a double R, you can write all real numbers, you can write from negative infinity to positive infinity, you can do anything you want, but just make sure you're telling whoever it's all real numbers. And that is the x values. Now, just like an ice machine, if you take an ice machine and you put, you cut the water line off, you put a funnel in the end of that water line, and you put 5 gallons of cherry Kool-Aid into that ice machine, what are you going to get? You're going to get 5 gallons of what? Cherry ice cubes. All right? If you put 5 gallons of green Kool-Aid, green Kool-Aid in the ice machine, you're going to get green ice cubes. How much? A 5-gallon bucket worth. Okay? So whatever you put into the ice machine, you're going to what? Get out.
Get out of it.
If you pedal a bicycle hard, you're going to get more movement. If you don't, if you try to ride a bicycle and you don't have any legs, what's going to happen? You're going to fall over. Now, a lot of people say, oh my God.
That's so mean.
All right? No, it's not. I'm trying to tell you something. If you put something into a function, you're going to get what? You're going to get something out of it. All right? If I tell you that I'm going to put 5 numbers into this domain, I'm going to get how many numbers out? 5 numbers out. So that's what domain is. Okay? Range is what? The output. Output. Domain is what? Input. The water is the input. The Kool-Aid is the input. The leg power is the input. The output is the Y. The output is the ice cubes. The output is the movement of the bicycle. All right? This is the output. So, if this is the domain, then the Y is the what? The range. So the range in this function is from 0 to what? It keeps going because we what?
Infinity.
Infinity. So we're going to put interval notation. 1, we get to bracket. Bracket means that you include the number. And this is the one thing that algebra students forget. They forget to use parentheses versus brackets. Inclusive, write inclusive here, meaning that you include 1 because it's sitting on 1, or 0, sorry, 0. And going to what? Infinity. Can we touch infinity?
No.
No. So therefore, does it get a bracket or a parenthesis? It's a parenthesis. So your range is from 0 to infinity. Now, decreasing values, here we go. I got to do a little artwork here, which I really suck at. All right, that's a dang space shuttle or something, okay? Dang space shuttle. Now we're going to go over increasing and decreasing values. Oh, horse pudding. Hold on, I drew it too close to my other stuff, so I got to go over here. Hold on. I got to go over here in the corner where nothing's, maybe I can do it here. All right, there's my plane. Now, some of y'all can fly, and that's great. Then y'all will know what I'm doing here. Okay? There we go. All right. Plane's coming in. I want you to tell me, as this plane comes in, which way do we read? All of us read from left to right, unless you're from the Middle East. Masalama. Okay, Masalama means go in peace, I think. Right? All right, so if you're from the Middle East, you read from right to left. Most of us read from left to right. So whenever you're reading the increasing and decreasing values, you're going to be going from left to right. Now, if you want to jumble it up and make it inconsistent, therefore it's more difficult for you to remember, then by all means, make it inconsistent. But if you want to be consistent and make it easier for you to understand and call back up, then go from left to right. Now, what is this plane doing from left to right as it's coming in right here? It's decreasing. It's going down. From where? From negative infinity, which is this arrowhead over here, to what? To 0. So decreasing from negative infinity to 0. Negative infinity. Parenthesis always goes on negative infinity to 0. And 0 gets a... Now, there's some people, there's some math teachers that will go into a big spiel about not putting a bracket on 0.
Just saying, is it 0 because that's the x?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Why would somebody fuss about putting a bracket on 0? Michael Jordan, that's why. Michael Jordan, what are you talking about? When Michael Jordan goes up for his jump layup or whatever it's called, and he travels 15,000 feet linear or whatever it's called, all right? At one point in time, what is he actually doing? Floating. Or the other F word, flying. All right, why? Because he neither goes up or what?
Goes down.
At the vertex of the parabolic function. So, some mathematicians, with no light, some mathematicians will fuss at you and say that has to be a parenthesis because you're neither going up or down. Some instructors will tell you, it's not that big a deal.
But why would you have one on the other side, not the other? That's stupid. A parenthesis.
Well, they're saying that this neither goes up or down right here. Okay, if this plane was in motion, it would not touch the ground pretty much is what they're saying. All right, if I could get the dang thing to work. All right. Now, what's it doing as we go to the right side? It's climbing. All right, so that means it's increasing from what? 0 to what?
Positive infinity.
Now, what is the biggest problem students have with increasing and decreasing values? They don't know what they're talking about as far as the x or y values. So you have to remember that this one right here is the only one that you actually look at the what? The y value.
Wow.
That's the number one mistake students make on this kind of question. The second thing is this is always going to be your x. This is always going to be the x of the what? Vertex. So where is the vertex on this function? This right here. X is equal to what? 0. Okay, so that's a little review over function and the domain range increase and decrease in values. Now you can go to that question and at least answer a couple of the questions maybe.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
can do this whole section, I don't think.
So let's take a plane. And the reason I use the plane is not to insult anybody's intelligence. I use the plane because people can actually make sense of it. All right? You got a plane, and it's coming from negative infinity, and it goes to this point right here. It's decreasing. So we got decreasing values, and I don't even care what the question's asking. Decreasing values from negative infinity to 1. And then we're going to increase that plane is going to keep going, and he's going to increase right here to about right there, which is 4.25. I don't know, 4.25 maybe, I don't know.
Wouldn't that negative infinity be positive infinity since it's concave up?
Okay, who's mentioned anything about concave? Okay, we're not talking about, we're talking about x values.
Alright, I didn't know.
Alright, you're trying to get the cart before the... See, that's why you're going to fail in life. Alright? Don't get the cart before the horse. Alright, so we're reading x what? X values. Alright, this is negative infinity. So what's that plane doing? As far as you know, what's that plane doing from this thing right here? What's it doing?
Decreasing.
It's decreasing from negative infinity to about what?
1.
You're looking at the y values. And that's what people do. They get confused. All right. Now, we're going to go up from here, from 1 to... Anybody want to give me 4.5 maybe? 4.5. And then decreasing from 4.5 to 6.75 or whatever. So, and some people do this. You can do this, and then you can do this, and then you can do this. And some people do it like that. But remember, you have to put the answer in terms of what? In terms of the x values. You can't put them in terms of the y values because then you'll get it wrong. See?
Yeah.
All right, so it says estimate the input value at the inflection point. Well, what is the inflection point?
Where
it switches. Now, it's very hard to tell in this question, it switches from where to where. It looks like to me it switches here to here. But in some functions, you're talking, and I want to wait before we get into inflection points. I don't want to cover this right now. The reason I'm going over this question is because we need to cover the main range increasing and decreasing values. 111, I want to wait before we go over inflection points. But inflection points, usually, that would be an inflection point right in there. And then we would have an inflection point probably, this one doesn't have much, but we do have an inflection point right in here somewhere. But they're very hard to spot, okay? So we're going to wait on doing the inflection point. So wait on 111. But I'm glad you brought it up because this is a good one where we can do the negative and positive and increasing and decreasing values. That's all I want to cover right now on this one. Okay? So let me go back to the questions. And again, I appreciate y'all being patient because I know some of y'all had an excellent 109 teacher and y'all know all this stuff. Right? Excellent 109 teacher?
Right.
Yeah, right. Let's see, what was that one? That was 1.11, 1.5, or 1.9. Let's look and see what this one says. Oh, here's another test question. Okay, well, it's concave down, but I tell students, which way is it opening? It's opening what? Down. All right? It opens down. Most teachers A lot of teachers, especially algebra teachers, they may say concave up or concave down. Most are going to say open up or open down. And what tells that? The sine of what? The sine of A. AX squared plus BX. Oops. Plus C. The sine of this guy right here. The sine of A tells you whether it's going to open up or open down. Okay, there's a whole review section I could do on this one problem, but
there really is. There's like a lot of questions.
Yeah. The vertex is always your what? Highest or what?
Point.
Lowest point. So there's your vertex. So that's where this one's going to change at that point. And that's at about 5.
Wait, is that the highest or lowest?
In that case, it's the highest because it's up and down. If it was opening up, it would be the lowest.
Okay.
Think of a valley or a mountaintop. Okay? Question. All right?
And
Next.
didn't you used to do something with like the x-intercepts or something?
Yeah, that's what we find with completing the square. Completing the square is when you find the x-intercepts. Okay, innervate, input, okay, decreasing or increasing, we're just going to do that. I'm just going to go back up to the, all right, tell me, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this down eventually. Calibrating. Okay, so there's the plane. The plane. And of course, from negative infinity, what's it doing? It's increasing. So it's increasing from negative infinity to 5. So you would say increasing from negative infinity to 5. Therefore, decreasing from 5 to what?
Positive infinity.
Okay, so that takes care of that question. Again, I'm not trying to hurry, but I want to get these questions taken care of so you can go home and send me some more questions. All right? So let's do some more. I'm trying to hurry. Okay, so down. Considering I'm reviewing and I'm going over different stuff, let's see.
Could you just go to like the whole unit?
I'm trying.
As I say, we haven't done anything.
Yeah,
for
like the
1.4.
questions I
1.4.
sent you, that's what I was talking about.
Okay,
Go
1.4.
over the whole thing.
I don't know. I think, have we covered any in 1.4?
Alright.
Okay.
No, we haven't done anything.
Okay. All right. So here's 1.4. Oh, man. I'll just have to bear with me. For some reason, this right side is not calibrated very good. Okay, the table shows blah, blah, blah. I have no idea what this is asking, but let's see. Table. Table shows the number of people in North America who use the email part of their job.
All of that. Most of them I didn't do. Sorry.
All right. Now, you could do, the best way to do this is to graph it in your calculator, and you could do that. But what it's reviewing 3 things. It's reviewing slope, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. X m is equal to. It's reviewing the point slope equation, which is y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. And it's reviewing interpolation and extrapolation. Interpolation and and extrapolation. All right, interpolation is finding out within. Extrapolation is extending and finding out and predicting. All right, but you're going to need probably a piece of graph paper or your graphing calculator to do this. And I would probably do years since 2000, but you could put it in 2005 or you could start with just 5, whichever you wanted to do. And put those values in, or you can just pick 2 of them. Okay? You don't have anything to pick from to make it easier, so I'm just going to pick 2 values. I'm going to pick this value and this value. Now, these are 2 points on the graph. Let's say 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. And then we've got 100 million or millions. Let's go 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40, 60, 80, 200. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. So there's 100 million right there. So the first point is at 2005 is at 130 million. Let's see, 20, 40, 130 million. Be right in the middle, so it's going to be right in here somewhere. That point is 2005, comma, 130.8. That's your point there. And your comma over here is going to be 2008 and 140 million. So that's 2040, 2008. So you got a line with 2 points on it. Okay? Now, before I go into those 2 points and do all the math, I want you to just make it a little bit easier. Let's go to the whiteboard. And let's go right here and say you got 2 points, 2, comma 2, and 4, comma 4. Read from left to right. X of 1, y sub 1, x of 2, y sub 2. Formula is y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x of 2 minus x of 1. Plug and chug. 4 minus 2 over 4 minus 2, which is equal to 2 over 2, so the m is equal to what? M is equal to 1. Now take 1 point, we'll pick 2. This is the first part. This is the second part. And we'll pick a point. That's x of 1. This is y sub 1. And what is our slope? 1. And now I'm going to plug and chug. Y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x of 1. Y minus 2 is equal to 1 times x minus 2. Y is equal to x minus 2 plus 2. Y is equal to x. So y is equal to 1x plus 0. This I just found the equation of the line. Knocking some cobwebs loose on the algebra now. Okay. All right. What time is it? Okay. I'm sorry.
10:59.
I knew it was close. All right. And I know some of y'all go into convulsions. Some of y'all already started packing up, which is rude. But just this 1 minute till I'll let you by. All right. Let me go ahead and call the roll for the Easley and Easley and Pendleton campus. So therefore, just stand by. Carr, you can leave. But now you need to finish up your homework and send in more questions because if I don't receive any more questions, then that means y'all all know how to do it, and we're going to go on to have a test or whatever. So you better be doing your homework, and you better be sending me questions. If you're not doing the homework, or if you are doing the homework, and you don't have any questions, then either you don't need to review, or you had an excellent 109 teacher, one of the two. Or you know everything, one of the three. Okay? So just do whatever you need to do and send them in. Carr.
Here.
Granger.
Here.
Harvey. Harvey. Carl. Carey. Curl.
Here.
Sorry.
Here.
Sorry. Caucus.
Here.
Lamb.
Here.
Linscott.
Here.
McDaniel.
Here.
Miller.
Here. Maybe.
Newton.
Here.
Stone.
Here.
Temples.
Here.
Shirley.
Here.
And Cox is here. And Easley. Crawford.
Here.
Fuqua.
Here.
Griffin.
Nailed it.
Here. Holiday.
Not here, I don't think.
Phelps.
Corey's not here either.
Williams. And Flynn. Okay, Anderson campus. And y'all, if you have any questions, okay, y'all don't have any questions. Clayton. Clayton. Okay, y'all want to hear a here. Here. Crittenton. I don't think he's here today, is he? Nope. Holland.
Here.
Cowell.
Here.
Kowal. Latham.
Here.
Sarver. Here. Smith. I don't think she's here. Patakis. Looney's here. And okay. Any questions? Stay after class. See y'all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
So
Glad we could catch y'all up. I'll hopefully go over some more questions
do
Thursday.
homework in this order like you gave last.
Yeah, the way I got it in there is the way we're going to do it. I'm not ready for 111 yet, 1.11.
I mean, the way it's listed on the
Yeah, you should be working on these 4 sections right now.
1, 2, 3, and 7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, ma'am.
What's the device they're using?
Browser. What are you talking about? I'm sorry.
Like, where's the?
Oh, let me do this.
How does this work?
Okay, let me first of all get out of this because I got to stop the recorder. I'm recording myself. Hold on.
Is it wireless and it's that laptop there?
Hold on now. It's right there. Where is my? There we go. Let me turn off the recorder.